It's been 25 years that Skoda has been present in the Indian market, but if you look at its entire lineup through all these years, there couldn't have been a model more critical for the brand than the Kylaq. And today we are driving it here in Goa, and we are going to tell you over the next few minutes whether this make or break model for Skoda really clicks and checks out all the right boxes or not. Well, when it comes to design, the Kylaq does make a good first impression. When you look at it up front, it's got the typical Skoda design. Yes, you will see the similarity between the Kylaq and this model, but then again, it looks sleek and muscular. Despite the size restriction of being under 4 meters, it does come across as a dynamic SUV. All of the front, you see a lot of bodywork, a lot of sharp angles, so all of that gives this car a very good and dynamic character. Towards the side again, strong shoulder line, 17-inch nicely designed alloy wheels, and then when you come to the rear, you get again a very nicely tucked in tail lamp and the boot lid. You can see a lot of sharp deep curves along with a lot of work on the bumper. When you add all of this, what you get is a vehicle that looks dynamic, refreshing and very pleasing to look at. So how's the cabin of the Skoda Kylaq? Well, once you get inside, you are greeted to a premium cabin layout. I really like the way the dashboard has been done, and if you look at this part of the dashboard, it stands out in terms of contrast and looks well. It feels good to touch, so it's got a nice tactile feel to it, nice pattern given here. The plastic quality is good, and also the fitment quality is top notch given the segment standards. You get a 10-inch touch screen here and an 8-inch instrument cluster, both fully digital, and they've got a nice color layout to it. This one has a good fluid touch response. It comes with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and in terms of overall visibility, it is very good. Even under direct sunlight, you can see all of the required information clearly. In terms of features, it's a feature-loaded cabin. You've got really good seats with very good cushioning, side support, and these are ventilated seats. Both seats up front are ventilated, and not just that, both of these seats up front are electrically adjustable, so you do not have to manually yank them. You've got buttons to move them around, and that adds a lot of premium flair to the cabin. Even in terms of space and in terms of practical storage space, everything has been done in a very thoughtful way. So the door cubby holes have a lot of space for your water bottles and a lot more. Beyond that, you also have a wireless charging tray for your smartphone. There is a sunroof, not a panoramic, but a normal electrically operated sunroof. And then when you look at the overall cabin layout, it's got a nice flair to it. It looks very welcoming. It's got a nice positive vibe to it. It's got a premium flair, and that's exactly what you expect from Skoda, and Skoda has delivered. The key takeaway for me when you're up front in one of these two seats is the fact that when you're in the Kylaq, you do not feel that Skoda has cut any corners in order to save cost. There is no evident cost cutting, and that is one very good factor which really is going to make life inside this cabin good for all occupants. Now, talking about the rear space in the Kylaq, how's it? Well, I think it's pretty good. I've got the driver's seat adjusted to my driving preference. I'm 5 feet 8 inches for reference, and you can see I've got good amount of leg room. I can easily push my legs forward. I've got a decent amount of knee room as well. Keep in mind, it's a car that is under 4 meters. I've got good clearance in terms of headroom, and the seat themselves, well, the bench is quite nice. The cushioning is spot on, and good amount of under thigh support, not something that you get to see in cars in this segment. So the seat has been done up really nicely in the Kylaq, and it's going to be comfortable for your family, for your friends, even when you're out for your long weekend trips. This is a seat that people wouldn't mind being in. It's got an almost flat floor, so you can have a third passenger sitting here. But yes, the AC vent, this entire structure is going to be a little uncomfortable, but then again, yeah, you've got rear vents, you've got two Type-C sockets, and there is an armrest. So if you've got 4 people in the car, it's brilliant in terms of comfort. And like I said earlier, it's loaded with features, it's practical, and it feels premium. And that's exactly what one would want when you're buying a Skoda. Alright, so now let's talk about the way the Kylaq drives. And of course, if you're someone who's going to invest your money in the Kylaq, you are going to expect a good level of driving fun, because that's what you expect from any Skoda, right? Now, let's get the hardware numbers out of the way first. What you get with the Kylaq is a petrol engine only, and that's a 1-liter TSI engine. So it's a turbocharged petrol engine and a 3-cylinder unit. It develops 115 PS of power, 178 Newton meters of torque, and you can buy it either with a 6-speed manual gearbox or a 6-speed automatic, a torque converter, that is. So how's it to drive? Well, keep in mind that this is not a very heavy car, it's a light car, and even the top version with all the bells and whistles weighs about 1250 kilograms. And as a result of this and the way the engine has been calibrated, it is quick on its feet. So it's a very agile car. Off the line, again, it gets off effortlessly, especially with the manual version. The automatic, there's just a slight hesitation of the line, and even when you're driving it and you want to accelerate quickly with the automatic, there's just this like a half of a second or maybe lesser. You just need to wait for it to come to a boil. With the manual though, it's almost instantaneous, but that's a very small gap. And beyond that, it's very effortless to drive. It's quick, and it accelerates in a very impressive manner. And even getting up to triple-digit speeds, high triple-digit speeds, is effortless, and it can easily hold on to the speeds for long. So at no point does the engine or the car feel as if it's, at its limit or it's running out of breath at highway speed. So you do not feel that it's underpowered, as long as, of course, you're driving it, in a sane manner. The gearbox as well, the manual gearbox works fine. The only slight issue I have with the manual gearbox is that the clutch biting point comes in too late. So there's a long travel, but the biting point is a bit late. So that's something you just need to get used to, and which you will eventually. The automatic gearbox works fine, like I mentioned earlier. Just a hint of lag when you suddenly want all of the power at your disposal, but you always have the option of taking control of the gearbox manually, and you've got paddle shifters also for that, and the paddle shifters work fine. So that's an issue that has been taken care of. Beyond that, in terms of handling,